Steve Kroft is hosting Sunday Night Special regarding his colleague and ours, Morley Safer, here with us now to discuss. And, you know, in looking at this, all these numbers that we're using to quantify this career of Morley's, you know, 60 Minutes has been with us for 48 years. He's been with 60 Minutes for 46 of them. And I know that there is a Tom Sawyer quality here. He gets to sort of attend his own professional funeral, if you will. But what sort of professional colleague will you be? Will we be losing?
Oh, the best. The best. Of all the people, the correspondents that have been on the show in the time that I've been there, which is a considerable length of time, it's probably closest to Morley. He was one of the people that, when I started in this business, tried to emulate, because he was such a great writer and because he was such a unique personality. And so I'm gonna, and his office is right next to mine. So I think he'll still be in, but I'm not. He's not gone. But I look forward to, you know, having a lot more conversations with him. But it's, you know, a little in his DNA. It will always be in the show. But it's, you know, it's what's the right word? I don't know. I'm sorry to see him retire.
Yeah. You know, I know you told the gang next door today that what made a Morley Safer piece was Morley Safer.
Exactly. Nobody else could do one.
You mentioned him as a writer. I think the highest compliment, you know, a writer can pay another is to wish that they had written his words. And I know, just watching 60 for so many years, the turns of phrase, the moments that really tied it all together so often were just those turns of phrase.
And it was also not just the turn of phrase, it was Morley's sensibility. I think that was really important to the stories that he did. He had a wonderful sensibility. He was sort of not just, I'm going to say, old-fashioned. I mean, he's like 2 generations removed, not 1 generation removed from the one that we're broadcasting for now, for the most part. And he had these wonderful values. He believed in honor. He believed in fair play. He believed in courage. All these things that are really important, and we don't think that much about. But he's real. I mean, he's not a throwback because he's from that generation, and it was great having him around.
Well, and to that end, you mentioned the 2 generations. He managed to evolve as a journalist and as a storyteller, and so when we dust off everything and pull it back out, here we do see the award-winning work of his in Vietnam, and how much of a difference he made there before he became this set the mood sort of storyteller, perhaps, that we saw at 60. What was that Morley Safer like? The young Morley Safer who was filing dispatches that would take a couple days to make air after he'd even, you know, sent the film.
We talk occasionally about Vietnam, but I'm trying to remember 1965. I would have been still in college, so it was hard for me to imagine then what it would be like doing what he was doing. But he was a real reporter. You know, he was not that far removed from the Toronto Globe and Mail at that time. He was a real sort of print reporter, and you can see that. And it's interesting that you point out you see the evolution. It has to do with just maturity, I think, and comfort in front of the camera. You know, if you go back and you look at stuff that was on the air when you were first starting out, you went, "Oh God, please don't show me this." You see the progression. You see him go into middle age and then get older, and it's a revelation. That's one of the great things about this documentary. You see a lot. You see all of it.
And you said today as well, he didn't come at you with a knife. It made me think, maybe that's it. His was an interview by 1,000 cuts. Everything was precise. There was a precision to him that, again, I mean, it makes me jealous, and I hate to think that won't be there.
And very formal. He was a very sort of formal person, but also at the same time very charming and relaxed, very urbane, literate, and like the old World War II Murrow generation of people. And he started right after that in the 50s when television was just starting. And he just, it's hard to really say. I think that he is, as I said before, he is my favorite. When he really came to 60 Minutes, there was nobody else that was doing the kinds of things that he was doing. Harry Reasoner a bit in the early days when he had Andy Rooney working with him. But Morley, you had a chunk of time, 12 minutes or 15 minutes, which was sort of new in television. And he really knew how to fill it. And he filled it in a very leisurely, casual way that made you feel that you were just sitting in a room with him and he had come back from a trip and was telling you what it was like. And it was really wonderful.
So many stories can almost hit the mark. It seemed like he never failed to do it. 19 stories he did in all. And, it's one of the great things about CBS. The greats are still roaming the halls. And Morley Safer, again, not gone, certainly never to be forgotten. Steve, cannot thank you enough.
Okay, Josh, thank you.
Joining us to discuss it a bit.